What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Van Chats. My name's John Croom, and I'm here with Justin Williams. And honestly, if I have to explain to you who Justin Williams is, that's pretty shocking because you're probably only listening to this because you know who Justin Williams is. So I probably need to do an intro about myself. But we'll go down that road another day. But anyways, Justin Williams, Legion, Crit, God, track racer. Yeah, he doesn't want to promote that too much, but I will because that's my bread and butter. Fixie Crit, you name it. I saw him on a mountain bike recently, but yeah, man. Justin, how you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. I'm no Matthew Vanderpool, but I gets busy on a bike, bro. 2 wheels.
Yeah, dude. Well, let's talk about first, before we even get started, Matthew Vanderpool, but let's talk about the jerseys that are going on in the back of your head right now.
Oh, these old things?
Those old things.
You gotta see the upper ones,
bro.
Oh,
man. Is that who I think it is wearing the green right now?
It's Sam Benny, bro. That's my guy.
Oh, man.
I met Sam Bennett at Worlds, man. He's he instantly became my favorite cyclist, man. Like giving Brad Wiggins a run for his money. And then this one is Corinne Rivera leading the UCI Women's Tour.
You were one of the only dudes at her bachelorette party, right?
Yeah, no, I was the only dude at her bachelorette party. Dude. Right on. It was crazy. She was like, "Yo, you want to come do this thing with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." I've known Corinne since we were like 13 or something. So like, yeah, it's been forever. She's like my little sister. So I literally was like bodyguard of her bachelorette party. So it was cool. It wasn't anything crazy. It was a cycling bachelorette party, man. Like,
because y'all were like bike packing and exploring and doing all kinds of crazy things. So there was no male strippers or anything wild.
Nah, they didn't let me order them. I couldn't have any fun.
Okay. Calm down,
Stephen Hyde. This is Stephen Hyde. These are me and Corey's, and then this is Celine's European Championship. I need her to slide me a World Championship now because she upgraded.
Oh man!
Out there.
We need to convince Chloe. We need to convince Chloe to get on that wall.
Dude, that would be dope. I got to start another one. So I think on the next one, it'll be over here. Yeah. So I'll try to convince Chloe to hook it up.
Oh, man.
I have a Kiel Reining jersey in the closet. I got some good ones, man. I'm going to start the collection. I have this like nice little office space right now. I got like my driving simulator in the corner. Nice picture of me and Corey from this year. And then I just want to fill the rest of it with like jerseys. We got a projector screen so Corey can race on Zwift.
Yeah,
tight, bro.
Nuts. Yeah. All right, so
it's tight.
Like I know you as the bike racer. Everybody else knows you as the bike racer, but I want to know you more as the entrepreneur, man. I mean, like, so we did a podcast with Payson McKelvin, and where I like you guys both did a podcast as well. You did the Quarantine Companion, which was dope. But where I really like that guy, I could care less about his crazy cool results, the crazy cool things that he does. He's just a fucking hustler. Like that dude.
It's my favorite thing about him.
Day in, day out is working super hard. And then you running a team, knowing that's not easy because, doing the whole privateer thing on my own on like 1/16 of the level that you're doing it on. What's that like, dude? Like what's that?
It's a lot of work, man. It's very stressful, especially like the biggest obstacles that I run into. It's dealing with a lot of people from brands that don't necessarily have aren't sympathetic to the fact that I'm doing like 10 things. So like you're running on a lot of these people's timelines, and like that's like the worst part. Like everything else like is business, it's work, it's just grinding. I don't even think about it in a way where I'm like, oh, I gotta do this or I gotta do that. Like I'm so genuinely so excited to see these things unfold that like the grind is pretty easy. My biggest hang up is having to like work on other people's timeline because I don't have hours. I'll work at until 2-3 o'clock in the morning if I have to get something done, and then have to wake up at like 9 to go ride or something and go put in the hour. So like 2 jobs, it's a lot of work. But again, like I said, I think that seeing the success that we've had so far, that makes it easier. Winning cures everything. That makes it easier to keep going.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And like, like this past year, I was going through some really rough time, and you've always been super cool, super nice, super helpful. I just shot you a message and I was like, yo man, like Legion, what's it look like? And you kind of were like super cool about it. You were like, yeah, man, we don't have any room. And when you released that roster, that was the best day of my life when I found out I didn't make that team, because that roster is straight fire. Like legit. Like if there was no COVID this year, it would have been insane. So like, let's kind of chat about that roster and that lineup, like especially like Scott Law. We're hoping to get him on the podcast here soon.
My guy.
Yeah, let's just kind of chat about the roster and kind of how that came about. And is there anything kind of in the cooks for 2021?
Yo, if you thought 2020 roster was fire, bro, the 2021 roster is next level. No, yeah, man, we obviously I raced with Scott. Scott was one of the first people that Scott and Holloway were like two of the people that are like around my age that were the only people to like beat me head up. So it's always been like very interesting to me. And when Scott came through with his Australian team, they spent the summer here in like 2017 or something. And me and Scott just kept going back and forth, winning races and beating each other. And then we got to be on the same team the next year. So like he was like a shoo-in, man. Like I love Scott. Like he's a good dude, straight shooter. Very good leadership skills, very straightforward as far as making people understand like mistakes and like how they can improve without tearing them down. And I think that we have an issue in the sport with like people trying to accomplish that and trying to like motivate with like talking shit, but then kind of tearing people down and not understanding kind of the complicated, complex way of how that works.
For sure.
So Scott's great at that, man. Love having that guy. We got Tyler Williams, who, dude, he was Cycling Academy.
Yeah, where do you even start with that guy?
Action. Dude is like incredible. He beat like all of NorCal by itself one year for the state road race championship. So we got him on the team, and literally he guest rode for us at Boise. And
because he was on the way out, wasn't he?
I don't even know if we all think that, right? When we see this is kind of an issue. When we see someone that we're used to seeing on a high level, and we don't see them on a high level anymore, we assume that they're done and they're retiring. So I kind of like approached it the same way. So when we invited him to Boise, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to do? What's the plan? And he's like, dude, I'm racing. He's like, I love racing my bike. I'm racing.
Yeah.
He's like, everyone keeps talking about like retirement and everything. And he's like, I've never said anything about retirement. He's like, I love doing this. I've done it. He basically did the same thing that I did, where I took a year where I didn't have a team and I raced for the love of racing. And that's what makes him so special to the team, man. It's like when you have guys that are doing it and would be doing it with nothing, man, it's a really special thing, right? So like now we have 4 killers on the team, even with just those 4, me, Corey, Scott, and Tyler. So we have those 4s. And then we had, Lance Haydick from Aovello. We had Corey Lockwood, who's Corey Lockwood. We had Eder Ferreira from Mexico, who basically led the national calendar for the first half of the season by himself, right? Guest riding for teams. So we had this like incredible squad, man. I was super excited to kind of really surprise people, because a lot of people try to place us as the crit team.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm the one winning a lot of the races and I'm a crit rider. But the reality of the situation is we're bike racers, man. Like you can try to pin us to whatever category you may think or you may, see. But at the end of the day, bro, we're coming out to win a little bit of everything.
No, that would have been an interesting Redlands, man. I mean, like with the Tyler Williams experience, Corey Lockwood time trial, and Lance Haydick climbing, like
Eder's climbing. They were like literally bad. Oh shit, Thomas Rivard. We literally this year.
Yeah, how did we get over him, man? Yeah, I forgot.
We literally.
That's how lit the roster is, though.
Yo, we literally this year had the top 5 guys. 3 guys that were in the top 5 of the like 2008 Redlands class or 18 Redlands Classic.
Jeez,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, and so I think it's cool to kind of see where Legion has come from, where it's come from a bunch of brothers, and then it's come from like a development team. Like I would say that you guys were the pros shepherding these development riders, like, and making it diverse in a way, right? And but like
so. And the thing that I've always wanted to touch. Go ahead.
But then in like a couple of years, well, then as the years went on, you added more firepower into that.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of turned into a team with a bit of that development still happening, if not the riders that developed into it.
Yeah, so this is a great conversation because I've been talking to Corey about this for a long time because people don't really see the ins and outs of the team, it seems like everyone kind of creates their own picture of what we're actually doing, right?
For sure.
Like at the end of the day, like I've invested my own personal money developing a platform that a lot of people can succeed in. My perspective is that as Americans, a lot of us need developing, right? Like even older guys, like development is not just for young, talented kids. It's also for guys who never really got the opportunity to go to that next level. So like, it's funny to me because I always go, where there's a bunch of under 23 teams, but where are they what teams are they being developed for? A lot of times the under 23 teams are better than our elite teams. So I'm like, well, we just need development, period. So it doesn't need a title because Corey Lockwood is, 32 years old or something. He still needs to be developed. He still has a lot of learning to do. If he ever wants to even have if he ever gets an opportunity to be on that next level, which we hope he does, it's our job to develop him to know how to do a lot of those stuff. And that's where like guys like Tyler, like myself, like Tyler Williams, that's where we all come in. We come into play to help him be the best him he can be. Same thing with Thomas, right? Like we're trying to develop Thomas as a person, right? And then develop him as a rider to kind of understand what's going on and what roles he can play. So it's an interesting conversation because the Legion of Los Angeles is a team built around me and Corey because we've been the breadwinners.
It's your brand.
We put the team together, right?
Yeah.
And we could have done the thing where like, and no disrespect to anyone who's doing it solo. We could have just did it the Justin and Corey show. And we would, the year I rode by myself, I won more races than I ever won. I won the road national title and the crit national title in the same year. So we could have just continued that. I could have been like, Corey, like, let's just me and you do it and kind of just see what happens. But to us, it was going to be so much more powerful to build something that hasn't been done before, a team that was for the riders, by the riders. But I feel like people get lost in the fact that, like, yes, we're developing people. Yes, we're creating diversity and inclusion within the sport, but they because we're the owners of the team, they forget that we're also people that had to start a team because we didn't have the support that we needed. So It's just a little bit of like confusion there where like at the end of the day, like we're still the superstars of the team. We're still the ones winning the races. We're giving opportunities, but we also still have to take care of ourselves, right?
No, for sure. And that's kind of what, and that's kind of what I was saying in the sense of like, you guys could have done it on your own and you didn't. And you gave these opportunities out to, I mean, even a Thomas Rivard. Like I've seen the people that have been on action and then what? And when they go down a level, it's almost like, oh crap, like I don't have somebody cleaning my bike every day. I don't have bikes getting mailed to my house or parts mailed to my house every day. And so that starts to wear on them and they start to quit and then they don't have a home. And so I've seen it. I've truly seen it. And that's kind of why I made the comment about Tyler Williams in the sense that he was on Israel Startup Nation, if I wasn't mistaken, right?
Yeah. For and so 3 years or something.
And so there was that time where it was like, I didn't hear about him, haven't heard from him, you know what I mean? And so it was like, oh, he had to it had to catch up with him eventually in the sense of like, because like if I pulled all your support out from under you and you had to start Legion over, that's what people don't get. They don't get where it goes from day one.
Yeah.
Like Legion didn't start overnight.
Yeah. No, I had been thinking about it for so long, man. I started with the concept team. We ran that team for a couple of years where it was like this combination of like kind of like, your everyday working rider that was on an elite level. And then we wanted to integrate some fixed gear riders into that. And that's where like Alonzo Tao came in, Angel Munoz, and Dante Young came in. Those guys all came from fixed gears and we created this platform and we wanted to give them an opportunity to kind of grow. And we did concept team for like 4 or 5 years, man. We did concept team for a long time. And that was Legion of Los Angeles was the evolution of what that was. That was kind of like this test run where I was still racing pro. I needed a creative outlet. I wanted to like kind of dabble in, is it that hard to run a team? And we learned so much from that. And we just brought that over to Legion and we started building from there. But yeah, like you said, it's hard when you have all the support in the world and then you have none. You see a lot of guys kind of like bailing out and going to do something else, man. And it's sad because we have a lot of talent in America. We have a lot of guys that if we had something cool at home in America where guys can make a decent living, which is a future venture that I'm trying to get into, then you can kind of retain some of that talent, and then that talent can pass that down to the next generation, right?
For sure. So what's 2021 goals for Legion? What's race goals? Let's say the race calendar is the race calendar. Like, it happens just like usual. What's the list? Let's hear it.
For me personally, or for the team?
Give me both. I mean, we got time, so like let me hear both. Like, what's your goals, man? I mean, last time I saw you was at Scratch Race National Championship, and I was hoping that you'd crack into team pursuit or something crazy, but you didn't want to hang out.
I'd love to do the team pursuit, man. It's just always so hard. It's always like a weird environment, man. Track is always very weird for me. Let's break it down. Like when I was a kid racing track, man, there was like little cliques at the track where like I just wanted to hang out with my
talk
friends.
About some bros. That's
I wanted to hang out with my friends, and like people would be in like different corners of the track, and then like when you were there, you like were shamed for talking to people. It was just like weird, and I hated it, and that kind of stuck with me as I grew up. It's the reason that I kind of like separated from track. I definitely loved the road more, and like I was more drawn to the road, specifically criterium racing. But yeah, track kind of like that killed me, man. I remember
it's still a thing too, unfortunately, because everybody has their own like little cubbies. Which, God, I was like talking about this. I don't know what COVID's gonna do for those little bubbles, because they try to fit like 8 people into
one.
So I can only imagine.
Early.
Yeah,
no, I feel that. But I remember that scratch race. I remember talking to Ryan Jobstrap before the race, and he was like, "Yo," I was like, "What gear are you running?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm running like a 108 or something." And I was like, "What?"
That's what I ran.
Mind you, when I rode like track all the time, when I was like committed to it, a big gear was like a 96.
Well, yeah, Taylor Finney set won the World Pursuit on a 96.
On a 96, dude.
Yeah.
That's
not
crazy.
Anymore. We're doing like 115.
That's what I needed, like a 110. So I ran a 96, and like, dude, I was spun out from like the third lap into the race, and I was like, okay, this is not gonna work. I should have listened to Ryan. But my goals for next year are pretty simple. My only real goal for next year is to win US Pro Crit. I'm about to call up USA Cycling and tell them that we need to change the crit up to suit me.
What's in Florida? Well, so the amateur crit's in Florida. They did that announcement, right?
No, we're going Conti next year. So we're gonna be a Conti team. So I gotta go win the pro.
Are you dropping this on the podcast, or has this already been dropped?
No, we did. Yeah, this is dropped on the podcast. I mean, it's not. I don't feel like it's like. I didn't feel like it was like worth an announcement or anything, dude. It's just a step, right? It's just a step in that direction to make the team more legit.
For sure.
And the kind of like, just make big steps, make bigger moves. So we're making that move.
Right on.
I think they announced that the Crit Nationals are in Knoxville again.
Yeah.
I've heard the course is pretty hard, but I've watched some videos on it also, and it seems like it could be manageable. I wouldn't be mad if they made it flat.
For sure. Like what, 4 corners flat?
No, I do 6. I do 6 corner. I do 6 corner. I do 6 corners flat, technical. I like that. That's easier to stay at the front. You don't have people bombing you. When it's wide open, people like they find momentum and then they can dive inside the corners. When it's really technical, it's hard for people to move. You're fighting for position, and while you're fighting for position, people are wasting energy. That's always good for me. So that would be my perfect course would be flat, 6 corner, pretty technical with like a wide open home straight that's like 300 meters.
Dude, that'd be dope. Yeah.
Come out of nowhere.
So then the team goal, I'm assuming, is
the team goal is wide open, man. We're just trying to win. We're trying to win something at everything. And that's stage races, road races, gravel, anything that we go to, we're trying to win something in everything. So we have the guys to do it, is all I'll say.
Okay, yeah. Because then that kind of segues, man. Can you talk about anybody you've signed, or have you not signed anyone yet? Just because I bet like trying to go Conti is like no easy game, especially like during COVID, like just in the sense of paperwork. So then,
dude,
you're like telling all these guys like, yeah, we're gonna go Conti, and then it's like, well, I probably should pump the brakes a little bit until.
No, 100%. Like it doesn't from a financial standpoint, it is definitely a complicated situation. It's expensive to go pro tour, and I've always been at the standpoint of like I would rather pay my guys than pay the UCI.
Yeah.
But it just makes sense at this point with everything that we have in development. I got stuff that's going on, that's happening that I can't talk about yet. But when it comes out. Exactly. When it comes out, you'll see that it makes perfect sense to go Conti. And then we're also looking at some of the like Asian races at the end of the year. Yeah. So when we're done with our season here, we'll go do like a Harat trip, like try to find one of those races that has some flat finishes and go do something on the Asian tour.
Corey and any of those like Tour de Taiwan, like Asian races. Old teammate of mine, Summerhill, was just like so good.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I think they're gonna be a lot of surprises next year. Is what I'll say.
That's awesome, man. Well, that's super exciting to hear, man. Because like I said, man, I've seen you kind of like put in the work and kind of come up through that, and it's just kind of cool to see it unfold. Because I feel like every time I see you, it's just like the smile is just getting bigger and bigger, and you're just getting faster and faster, which is dope.
I'm actually right now getting slower and slower. That's why I'm gonna come out to. I need to come out to the Springs to start training, man. I've been like, it's been one thing to the next. We stopped racing in March. We stopped racing in March, where like a lot of people in the country didn't even start racing yet. And like, it's been like quarantining for like, I think we quarantined for like 2 months, like barely went outside, dude. I rode Zwift for like 16 days in a row at one point.
Yeah. And California was hardcore about it.
Yeah. We were like, and my brother has asthma. Like my niece has asthma, and both of my brothers have asthma. So it's not something that we can afford to really mess around with. Like my parents are older, man. Like we see them all the time. Like it's not something that we can really afford to do. So we're super strict about it. Like as soon as we figured it was happening, we went straight into being hyper serious about it. And even now, man, like we'll go out and we can't ride right now because the West Coast is on fire. Yeah. Which is why I need to come up to you guys. But even before that was happening, man, like we were going out and riding, but we were barely riding with people, Yeah. I would ride with people when I absolutely had to. I've done one like ride with more than 10 people in like, I've done one in like 6 months, 7 months. Yeah. And like cycling is known for being a social. Like that's one of the best parts about the sport is like you go out, you ride, you never know who you're going to see. You go do group rides, you meet up for coffee. There's all these amazing relationships and like moments that come from that. And dude, it's depressing not having that, right? So like I went through this like really like hard, dark time where I was like, man, what am I doing all this for? There was no like race outlet. There was no race win or lose. Like just being in a race, being at an event, traveling, there was none of that. And it started to weigh on me. And like, I think it was a good and a bad thing. I've always known I would have to make this transition from being a sprinter and taking that kind of aggression and focus and putting that into business. Yeah. So like what this has allowed me to do is just start transitioning that kind of sense and kind of awareness and understanding. And like now I'm just applying it to business. So like that's going well.
No, yeah. And like, and we can see that it's going well. I mean, like what's nuts about this whole situation though, is like, especially out in California, man, like the moment that the smoke kind of started to go away, then you'll get these crazy ass heat waves where it was like 100 and I mean, they were
115,
118. It was insane.
Crazy.
And then and now the smoke is insane. So like, it's either you can come breathe or try to breathe up here some clean air. But I'm kind of worried that like with the way the wind's blowing and things like that, like we were starting to get some smoke too, just based off wildfires. Like nobody's doing gender reveals or anything crazy, but it's just like, it's just actual wildfires.
Dude, I just feel like as Americans, man, I love this. I love our country, man, but I just feel like we're failing so hard. Like there's no unity, there's no togetherness, there's no basic understanding. No one wants to be wrong. No one is listening, bro. We just feel like a bunch of children in a room fighting over a bunch of toys, and it's heartbreaking, dude. Because like you said, like the cycle is perpetuating where like things are getting worse and worse and worse, and it just feels like there's a lack of leadership, and like no one knows what to believe. And so like all of that stuff is happening, and like, yeah, like you said, I'm just trying to ride, man.
Well, it's nuts to me, man. Like it just feels like if every like our history, like our kids' history books there's literally going to be like a 400-page chapter on 2020. Like my kids are going to come home and be so pissed. They're like, Dad, we got to take the exam on 2020 now. Like I'm like, dude, oh shit. Because I mean, and it feels like when you're in high school and there's all that drama and that weird stuff. It honestly felt like that drama just continued with my age. So like I'm 27 now, and like I'm still talking to people, and I'm like, wait, am I in high school still? Yeah, like it's just like it's that continuation, and the Facebook and the and posting things on the internet of just people like speaking their mind of just even just hateful fucking things, man, of just like simple, like
no facts, just feelings.
No facts, no feelings. And it's kind of like when you get buzzed by a car on the road and you like kind of look over at them and you're just like, yo, dude, what the fuck, man? Like we probably have more in common than you think. And it's kind of like, well, you shouldn't be on the road. Well, you shouldn't be speeding. I'll do what I want. Well, I guess I'll do what I want. And then you're just back to square one. I guess, I don't know.
So that's the funny story. That's the funny story. I was at Specialized maybe a year ago, and I was like, yeah, you know how I dress. I dress like a normal dude. So like no one would expect me to be like a cyclist, right? But I'm at Specialized. I'm getting this like breakfast burrito in this shop. And this dude starts talking to me because I got the new J's on. He's like, yo, you got the new J's, son. And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah. He's like, where are you from? He's like, because you're not from around here with those on. And I was like, oh, I'm from LA. I just came up because I had some business that Specialized. And he's like, oh, Specialized. Like, what do you do for them? Like marketing? And I was like, kind of.
Yeah, I guess something like that.
Yeah, kind of. I was like, nah, I'm a professional cyclist. And he was like, bro, you're one of those dudes that be on the side of the road when I'm trying to get home from work. Or he's like, you're one of those dudes that are blocking the road when I'm trying to get home from work. And I said, you're one of those assholes that's driving the car that can't take 5 seconds to like wait to pass safely so another human being can exercise. And he's like, yo, when you put it that way, I kind of feel like a dick.
Nah, man, nah, you're not, because now that you've just acknowledged the fact that you're a dick, you kind of lose all dickness, you know? So
I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, honestly, man, I was like, how long does it take you to just like wait until it's safe or slow down and then drive around? I'm like, you're on a back road anyway. Like the speed limit's like 40. Like 44, 45, whatever. But I was like, how much is it actually going to take off of you? Are you in that much of a rough? And he was like, nah, dude. He's like, thank you so much. But it just takes that connection to someone that feels like a normal person. That's relatable. Like he said, I have more in common with you than you think. And it changed his whole perspective on like how he should be reacting as someone in a metal vehicle that weighs, 4,000 pounds, bro. You know what I mean? It changed his whole perspective on it. And it was cool. We like chilled after we talked about sports, like you said, more in common. And like, hopefully that dude's a better dude. He like gave me his number. He's like, yo, I'm the manager of this like sushi restaurant. Like, if you're ever in town, hit me up. And I'm like, my guy.
All you can eat.
I'm like, my guy. Yeah. So, like you said.
Sweet. I think, so give me.
Know.
Good.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I don't know if there's a way to be better about just kind of creating those bridges to everyday people so that we can find that common ground. And bikes are good, man. The bike community is growing massively.
Yeah.
But I think it will change, but I think it's going to take a lot of just connection to make it better.
Well, I think there's already like a ton of like division within the current cycling community itself
100%.
that we need to work on. And with all
Dude,
these new
cyclists
people
are
coming in.
haters.
Yeah. And so the new people coming in, you have the old people being like, you know how long I've been doing X, Y, and Z.
Nobody cares.
And it's like, dude, nobody cares. But they do care to learn some of that knowledge of things that they shouldn't do that you wish you would have had somebody tell you when you first started riding. And so I guess, I mean,
No, I had that. I was lucky. I had that, man. I had Rasan, I had Eric Saunders, I had Sterling Magnell, Jeremiah Whiskerville. I had all these amazing dudes that were like California based, who wouldn't let me do any Ivan Dominguez. Like I was lucky, man. I like when J. Cole dropped that Middle Child song, that like was deep for me, right? Because it was like super deep because I was like, yo, that's my life, man. Like I got the last of the old school, like the last of the like really gritty, ride in the rain, go train slow for hours at a time. Like I got the last of that, and I got a lot of that etiquette and respect that they demand. Like demand.
Those guys, if they would have had Facebook back then and the tour was the same way the tour was then, like these guys would have lost all their sponsors because they would have been so pissed at how.
Or it would have been or it would have just been accepted.
Yeah, or let go. Like it is what it is, you know. But
you heard Robbie?
Yeah. What's that like though? Like being a part of those guys, because those are some legends, man. I mean, like Rashawn and Ivan Dominguez alone. I mean, like what was that like? Kind of learning from those guys.
Nah, it was incredible, man. Like obviously, I feel like I contribute a lot of the reason I am who I am right now to those guys, man. Just like even taking the time, like I know how it is to be super busy and to have a lot of things to do and to be responsible for a lot of people and still having to take the time to like talk to kids, answer like dude, you wouldn't believe how many DMs I get.
I can only imagine.
Try to answer as many of them as I can and try to just like inspire people and like keep them it's not my job to keep them motivated, but I try to motivate, right? So like I'm so grateful that those guys took the time out of their day away from their family to really invest in me and to it's just passing along that information, man. Like to this day, like I have conversations for some time. I get to have conversations with Dominguez. Like I could call those dudes if I need anything or if I have any questions. And I never stopped learning. And if those guys came up to me right now and told me, yo, you're doing this and you need to adjust here, or you're doing that wrong, dude, I would do it immediately because like that's the level of respect that I had for them in everything that they've done for me, man. It was incredible, man. I got super lucky, dude.
Yeah, because like I bet they kind of, because those dudes are some business savvy dudes. Like, so I bet not only did they coach you through the athlete side, I bet they've kind of helped like a little bit on the business side, huh?
Yeah, no, for sure. Ivan more when asked. Same thing with Jeremiah. Like more when asked. Rasan, like we have a business together, so it Methods to Winning. So it's me, him, and two other guys.
Yeah.
So we get to talk. I get to see kind of like where his head is and how he strategizes a lot of things. So it's just like, I just take cues, man. You'd be surprised what you can like actually pick up on if you shut up and listen, or shut up and just observe and be smart about it. That's something that's free, man. All you got to do is everyone I meet that's in business, every sponsor I have, whenever I get to meet like any CEOs or whatever the case may be, anybody big, high up in the company, man, all you have to do is listen, man. Those people are gold mines. Like they'll tell you everything you need to know. And like, that's the only way to learn. You can learn the fast way and you can like absorb all this information. You're still going to make mistakes, but you can absorb all this information and take what people have done and try to apply that in ways that work for you. Or you can take the hard way. You can think you know everything and you could like go out and make mistake after mistake after mistake and basically take this windy road to get to the next destination that you're trying to get to. You know what I mean? I'm a big believer in perseverance. So I think as long as whichever one you choose, as long as you keep grinding, you'll get there eventually. But personally, I'll take the road that's a little less windy, man. I'm trying to get that Lambo, bro. Where that Lambo at?
Well, when you do, that's when I'm coming to LA and hanging out. That's definitely. I'm like, my friend got a Lambo. That's when, to all my friends that said I'd never make it, my friend got a Lambo. That's the way I'm reacting.
That's right.
So that's pretty dope.
Driving it, you're just taking pictures for the gram. Let them know.
Oh, yeah. Just I'm not even allowed to start it. I understand. But yeah, dude. So I don't want to kind of keep you all day because I know you're a busy dude. So I got 2 questions for you. And I just started this new segment because this is coffee and band chats, and I was thinking, man, like I've never really integrated anything with coffee. I've done the whole van thing because the idea behind this podcast was that it was going to be filmed in my van and done in the van, and it was going to be fun. It was going to be with racers, but COVID kind of fucked that all up. But I kind of like this new segment. So this segment is essentially how would you take your coffee? And if you don't drink coffee, how would you take your drink? And who is one person, dead or alive, that you would sit down and have it with? And what's the conversation? What's the question that you would ask them? You see, so you follow me so far?
I can play out this whole situation except for the person, because I'll say a name that is, you know what? I think I have a name. It's a vanilla latte with 2% milk always. Like that's my drink at sunset on some beach, preferably in like Malibu or something.
All right.
Like on the water, and be Kobe, bro. And have a conversation with Kobe, man.
Yeah.
Like childhood hero, just a different animal, different mindset. Like talk about somebody that can do anything. I truly believe that I can do anything. I put my mind to. So like seeing him go from basketball player to dad to he did that he won that award for the short story he put out, the animation as a director. Like talk about, and there was so much more, man. I truly believe that the Kobe Bryant was going to change the WNBA for the better, man. I think that he would have elevated it to like crazy new heights, him and Gigi, man. So that's a bummer, but for sure it would be Kobe, man. It'd be Kobe.
Sweet. No, I kind of guessed that with your shirt.
That's my whole situation right there.
Yeah, I guessed that with your shirt for sure. So last question, what is one nugget that you would give to somebody like that's coming up through the sport, just bought a bike? We now have these new athletes. What's one nugget that you would give to somebody that's trying to get into racing, man, trying to get started? Oh, did I lose you?
What?
Sorry, I think I lost you for a second. You there?
Yeah. You froze for a minute. Sorry.
Right, no worries. So the question, last question. What's one nugget that you would give somebody that's trying to get into racing and just trying to get started? Oh man, is it freaking freezing every time I ask the question?
All right. Are you back?
I'm back.
I'm trying to figure out if it's my internet or your internet.
I don't think it's mine, but we'll try it one more time.
Yeah, I got all bars. All right, let's try it.
Try it. All right. So what's one nugget that you would give somebody that's just getting into racing and just getting started?
Show up, man. Don't be afraid. Like, it's hard. I know it's hard, but I think the easiest thing would be to find a club that races. And then that way, when you show up, you have that you just automatically gravitate to. It's like high school, like you gotta find easier to it's gonna make it so much easier to want to be there. And I think that's the biggest thing that people struggle with, is that acceptance of like being at a race. I think if you can find a group to show up with that's gonna get you there, because you just need to race. You need to do as many races as possible. The more you do, the better. I did a training crit every Thursday for basically my whole racing career, from like 13 years old to like for real like 25, every Thursday. So whenever I was in town, obviously, but like, you have to race. That's the only way to get better. You're going to figure things out, and things are going to like happen to you in those events that is going to shape you as a racer. And the more race days you have, that directly correlates to how good of a strategist you're going to be. You can't fix everything in leg. Well, you can't fix everything with the legs. Yeah. You cannot fix everything with power. It's not a road race, especially in criteriums. You need to have strategy. You need to work on your cornering. You need to know what's happening. You need to understand momentum. You got to figure out the courses where you need to be forward and when you don't need to be forward. You need to figure out when you need to use energy and when you don't need to use energy. You need to study your opponents. That's how you get to the level of winning races consistently. And winning consistently is what makes you a superstar.
Nah, that's dope. And I remember watching your USA Crits video of just the breakdown of Salt Lake City, and that's some good knowledge. If you guys want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below. But other than that, I will put all of Justin's social media down in the description below. And like I said, if you don't know Justin already, I don't even know how you ended up on this podcast.
Well, if you don't, then welcome to the world of criterium racing.
Welcome to the world of the bumping and grinding. And let me tell you this: he's a lot nicer in the pack than you think he is. I promise. just don't get in his way. Just don't get in his way. He's always been nice to me. I'm never in his way.
It's not even that, dude. It's just like, dude, I'm the guy in the field that, dude, when the race starts, we're chilling. I'm pushing people in front of me. I'm like literally like, I'll let people in front of me. I'll give them a push. If I see some guy do a great effort, I'll give them a push back into the field. Dude, with 5 laps to go, just stay out of my way, bro. Like
100%. And like, I haven't seen you with 5 laps to go. I've seen you usually after, before, and sometimes in the middle, because I'm usually kind of near the back. And then I'm like, oh, I'm in a good spot. Justin's right here. And then all of a sudden you're gone and you've won the race. I don't know how that works, but you do it.
Hey man, I get lucky.
But yeah, man. But seriously, thank you so much for your time, dude. I can't thank you enough for jumping on. It's so cool to see what you are doing and everything that's going on. And one of these days, we'll convince you to do a team pursuit. And you'll have a Legion team pursuit team that rocks up the national. Dude, we should just bring kits out. Maybe another day. We'll talk about it.
We can do it. We can do it.
All right. Thanks, guys.